Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Teen moved in after Dawson said wife was not coming back, court told by Sarah McPhee May 20, 2022, 7:22 p.m. Save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size. Chris Dawson's former babysitter has told a court he called her in January 1982 to say his wife Lynette was gone, and the then teenager moved straight into their matrimonial home on Sydney's northern beaches. "I moved straight back into that house," the woman, Dawson's former student and second wife, known as JC, said under cross-examination in the NSW Supreme Court on Friday. Chris Dawson leaving the NSW Supreme Court on Friday. Credit, Edwina Pickles. Dawson has pleaded not guilty to murdering his first wife Lynette, which the Crown alleges occurred on or about January 8, 1982. JC said Dawson had called her on January 10 or 11, telling her, "Lyn's gone, she's not coming back, come and help me look after the children." She said he did her a favor by picking her up from her holiday at Southwest Rocks, and she felt obligated. Defense barrister Pauline David suggested to JC that when she returned to the Bayview home, having also lived there in late 1981, she initially went and stayed in the study for up to 1 month. "No," JC replied. Asked whether Dawson had made it clear that if Lynette Dawson had come back home, you would have to leave, JC said he absolutely did not. David suggested JC did not want Lynette to return. "I didn't want the responsibility of cooking, cleaning, looking after Lyn's children, who she loved," JC replied. "I wanted her to come back, so I could go and live my life as a 17-year-old. She said that she looked up a cookbook to learn how to make mashed potatoes, while Dawson and his 2 young daughters sat at the counter watching. "It was an awful situation," JC said. She denied having created an entirely imaginary scenario about her life with Dawson at the time. JC testified on Thursday that the wardrobe was bursting with clothes, including Lynette's, and she had been allowed to go through them to keep anything she wanted. David suggested Dawson had nothing to do with JC wearing any of Lynette's clothes. "I would never have put on someone else's clothes," she replied. Asked by David whether she used to sometimes cut Lynette Dawson out of photographs of the family, JC said no, and denied she was lying. The defense says Dawson drove his wife to a Mona Vale bus stop to go shopping on January 9, and they had agreed that she would later meet him, their children and her mother at the Northbridge Baths where Dawson was working. Dawson alleges Lynette called and said, to the effect, she would not be returning home that day. A woman, who cannot be identified as she was a juvenile at the time, gave evidence that she worked at the kiosk at Northbridge Baths during the summer of 1981-82, and had answered a call in January or February. "One phone call I remember fairly clearly is that I picked the phone up and there were long-distance pips," she said, adding that the high-pitched tones occurred with calls from out of the Sydney area. She said a female had asked to speak with one of the Dawsons, either Chris or his identical twin brother Paul, who she could not tell apart. "I don't remember who it was." Asked whether the female had identified herself, she said, "Quite likely, but I really can't remember." She told Crown Prosecutor Emma Blizzard she was unable to hear anything about the call. The judge-alone trial before Justice Ian Harrison continues. The Morning Edition newsletter is our guide to the day's most important and interesting stories, analysis and insights. Sign up here. Thank you for reading the Herald. This article is complimentary. Register or log in now to read more articles and unlock extra benefits. No payment required. Read more. Continue with Google, continue with Apple, or email address continue by continuing. You agree to your personal information being collected under our privacy policy and accept our terms of use. Hide content.